Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender. Me, myself, and I play through the main event scenario. We are getting ready to go into the Soviet Operations phase of November 1943. We'll go ahead and get right to it. One of the first things I want to do with the Russians is bring up my national tracks. I'm going to spend one. Move this infantry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the river, 7, 8. That's basically getting him out of the way. And then this shock army can go 1, 2, and then 3 for the river, 4, 5 for the hex, 6, 7 for attacking infantry. Or enemy hex. No, highlighting the wrong guys. And he should be activated. So that's another one. And then I'm going to spend 3 more to activate this infantry, this armor. And then we're going to assault the Nor. We're going to go ahead and resolve it right away. I'm going to play a bunch of stuff with the Russians. I'm going to throw in... the Germans don't have anything to counter me, so I'm going to throw in heavy artillery and a tanks marker and my airplane. I really want to break this river line, the Volkhov, so that I can start pushing towards Leningrad, and if I can get him pushed out of this this horrible terrain up here in the wintertime, it's going to make my summertime going through much more clear terrain here in the north and recapturing Estonia and Latvia and stuff be much easier if I don't have to bust them out of this terrain in clear weather. So, yeah, I played a whole bunch of stuff with the Russians. Let's go through the math. The Germans are +2 just because they're freaking Germans. The Russians are main guy is going to be the Guards Army. So he's +1 because he's elite and +1 because he has a tanks marker. So he thinks he's armor. He's got a buddy to the north, which is +1. Shock armies added into an assault are +2. I get +1 for the aircraft, and then I get +2 for the heavy artillery. So I'm starting off at +8. However, I have to take off 1 for the weather, 1 for the river, and 1 for the swamp. So it's a +5 to a +2. And the Russians roll. 5 + 5 is a 10. Germans roll. 4 + 2 is a 6. 10 to a 6 is a DR. So we broke the river line. Nor unit backs up 1. This guy takes the hex. Then I gotta go put stuff on the turn track. Tanks marker goes there, and then I have to roll for my heavy artillery. And of course I rolled a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It won't be back until May. So, but I have another one coming in November, or in December. So I'll have 2 for the rest of the winter. So I still will be able to use it to break things, but I really thought I needed to get across this, because now I can try to, maybe I can try and push down and, roll this line some. Get him off the Volkhov completely and push him back towards the Low Countries, or whatever what are those? The Balkans. I'm sorry, the Low Countries. Duh. Wrong side of the map. Okay, we're going to try and go ahead and get this guy done. I'm going to spend 3 more. I'm going to activate the 3rd Guards Tank Army and the 1st Shock Army. And we're going to throw in the airplane from Kalinin. Just because we can. So let's do the math. The Germans normally start off at +2, but they're at low supply, so they're -2. So they end up at a net 0. The Russians, the armored is the primary. It is +1 because it's elite, +1 because it's armor. And then I get +2 for adding in a shock army. I get +1 for the airplane I threw in, and I get +2 because he's isolated. So right now I'm at +7, but then I have to take off 1 for the weather, and he's hiding in the woods, so that's another one. So it's a +5 to a 0. And the Russians roll a 1 + 5 is a 6. That figures. The Germans roll a 6. Guess what? 6 to a 6 is a diamond. So I'm going to have to do this again, and probably not as good at odds. Oh, God. What a pain in the posterior regions. All right, we're going to activate the 4th Guards Army and the 4th Army here. It's another 3. Down to 27. The Germans are getting their wish so far. That's going to be, and I'm going to throw in the airplane again from Kalinin, because what the heck. So, again, I am, let's go through this. It's not going to be nearly as good. I'm +1 because the armor's the primary. +1 because I'm elite, +1 because he thinks he's an armor. I have an infantry unit. I don't want to add a tanks marker here because I want to use it further south. I want to use both of them further south, so +1 for the guy that's in Bryansk, and then I get +2 because he's isolated, and +1 for the airplane, and then -1 for the weather, -1 for the woods. So now it's only +4 to 0. And the Russians will roll another 1. Yes, the Russians love 1s. 1 + 4 is a 5. The Germans roll a 2. A 5 to a 2 is a DR. So I am not dead. I have to be flipped because I cannot retreat. So now the Germans would be a -2. And I'm going to go ahead. Oh, God. -2. The best I'd be is a 0. Because I really don't want to use the tanks markers down here. I'm going to hold off on that for the moment and think about this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't get him. I can't get anything in there except that one. Unless I want to move him out and move this Guards tank army up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then it'd be +2, +3. It'd be a net of +1 to -2. But then I'd have Guards tank armies up there. And I really need to have them down here. Ick. Ick. So, well, we're going to go and, I better check. Did I count that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I started at 38, so yep, I'm at the right place. Let's go ahead and do this. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, third shock army is going to activate and go 1, 2, 3, and then 4 for the river, 5, 6 for an enemy unit in pour, and then 7 for the hex. He's going to assault this hex. Guards tank army will move here. So that should be 3 more. And then 2 more for the reduced armored unit. Goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's activated. So now I have used up 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yep. And we will assault here. So the Guards tank army is the primary. He's +1, then +1 because he's an armor. Then I'm adding in a shock, that's +2. Adding in a tanks army, that's another +2. -1 for weather, and the Germans are +2 because they're Germans. So +5 to a +2. And the Russians roll a 4. Look, I didn't roll a 1. Total of 9, net of 9. And the Germans roll a 1. +2 is a 3. 9 to a 3 is not good for the Germans. 9 to a 3 is a DD. Oh, that strikes up an interesting possibility here. So he has to be flipped, and then he has to be retreated. Now the question is do I want to take the hex? Or do I want to leave the guy up in Bryansk and let him die out of supply? I could bring this Guards tank army down and attack it +1 to -0. And possibly push him out even further, which could then let me get an interesting attack elsewhere. I don't think I'm going to take that hex. I'm going to move this Guards tank army down here. I see a chance here to blow a bigger hole in the German line. So we're going to activate, where am I at? Right, so I'm going to activate this guy for 2 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to assault this guy. And I will be a net of +1, and he will be a net of 0. +1 because he's elite, +1 because he's armored, -1 for the weather, and he's basically a 0. I'm trying to see if I can get lucky here. So the Guards tank army rolls a 4, +1 is a 5. The Germans roll a 1. 5 to a 1 is a DR, so I didn't eliminate him, but I did retreat him. Now the question is the Germans want to retreat northwards on that side of the river or southwards on this side of the river? It really doesn't matter which way they go, does it? They'll be in a world of hurt. If I go this way, I'm sitting right in front of Kiev, which keeps any shenanigans from happening. Yeah, I think I'll go that way. Okay. Wow. And the Guards tank army is going to take the hex, because in the next move, it's going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do I want to try and push the south? Or do I want to try and push the north? I could spend 3 more points and get the first in a surrounded situation. It means that my southern stuff doesn't really go off, or I could try to push the 15th back, which would definitely force the line. I think we want to try and bust this whole thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. And throw in this guy. So I would be 2 +1 is +3, +4, +5, -1. I'd be +4 to +2, and I'd still have a space open to attack him a second time. Okay, I had to talk that through myself. This guy's going to activate. We're going to assault the first. That's 2, and then another unit is going to activate. The 7th is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait a minute, where do I have? What do I have further back here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This guy can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the unit, 10 for the hex, and he can assault. And I will be playing my tanks marker here. Hello, tanks marker. Where are you? Combat results table. Faction card. I will be playing a tanks marker here. So that I end up being a +1 because I'm elite, +1 for a tanks armor. It's played on the first guards here. And then I add 1 for this other guards army. And +2 because he's isolated. So I'm +5. And now I take a -1 for the weather. So I'm +4 to his +2. Let's see how this goes. Russians roll. A 6 +4 is a 10. Ouch. Germans roll. 5 + 2 is a 7. A 10 to a 7 is a DR. The Germans cannot retreat, so they must be flipped. And then, where am I? Turn track. Buried my tanks marker. Goes on to turn track. Boys, oh boys. Got a little mini breakout here, at least up to the Desna and whatnot. Need to use a tanks marker. Do I have an airplane up here? So I could make that at 0 to a -2. So I can use an airplane there. That would be 2 more. That put me down to 14. Actually, yeah, 2, and then this guy. So we're going to move out of Nostric. 1, 2, doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the shock army is going to attack the first as an assault. And so the German's down to 0. The shock army is a net of 1. He's +1 because he's elite, +1 because he's shock. Oh, no, he'd be 0. It's a 0 to 0. Maybe I don't want to do that. Let's go backwards. Let's not do that. How do I want to do this? Well, there's no good way. Oh, I know what I can do. Rather than using the airplane to kill this one, I think I'll take that one at a 0 to -2. I'm going to move this airplane down to say here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to do that first. And then I will activate this shock army. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I will throw in the airplane with it. So that's a point to activate the shock army. And I got to count these again. I think I'm off. I think I should be down further. So I get to add one for the shock because he's elite, right? And then one for the airplane, -1 for the weather, and the German is at a 0. So I'm a +1 to a 0. All I need is a DR to force him to go. Russians roll a 2, +1 is a 3, and the Germans have to roll a 1, which they proceed to not do. So 3 to a 6. It's just an yes. Okay. So the first held for the moment, which is surrounded. And I'm going to do a quick count on my Russians here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And I started at 36, so I missed one somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So 24, I should be down one more. I thought I was off by one. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. 22 from 38. What am I missing? I keep coming up with different numbers every time I count. This is crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 11, because he's in infantry. 11 to here. Plus 2 is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 from 38, so I should be at 15. Wow, I thought I spent more. 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah. Huh. 1, 2, and 8 is 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 it is. I got 23 at least 3 times in my counts, so 23 it must be. That leaves me, okay, I've got an armored unit to flip and a shock unit to flip, so that's 3. That would put me down to 12. Means I can only flip up 2 airplanes if I do anything else. And I really want to take a pot shot at getting this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and spend the 2 here. 2, 3, 4. I won't be able to get anybody else into attacking the first, so he's going to live for another turn with the first. But I am doing a pretty good push here. Do I really need to kill this guy? Or do I want to have the points If I leave it at 15 and let him die without taking out a will point, oh, I do need to move something forward, don't I? So I guess I will go ahead and activate him. 1, 2. I will throw my last tanks marker, wherever it may be. Throw my last tanks marker on this. So that makes me +1 because I'm +1 for the tanks marker, and then -1 for weather, -1 for the woods, and then he gets plus. Normally he's +2, and -2 for low supply, and -2 because he's flipped. So I'm a 0 and he's a -2. The Russians roll a 6. The rest of the Germans can roll is a 4 with -2, so they are eliminated. So I did get him. So they will lose a will point. Go down to 49. Ta-da! I broke the 50 mark. And then faction card. This German goes into the eliminated box. This low supply goes away. I'll go ahead and move him so it puts him on a rail line. And then turn track. Put the tanks back. Okay, and then I have to spend one more to cover Depnostra because I really don't want him just to run in there with like a garrison or something and make me have to attack it. Wow. Do I go down to 3 airplanes? 2 airplanes if I flip my units. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do much next turn, so I'm going to do it all right now. I'm going to spend 2 more here. Activate this one. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'll spend 2 more to take this guard unit and have him go 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're kind of in a decent line. And I will only be able to, when I replace my ground units, I'll only be able to pick up 2 airplanes. Just checking him. Everybody looks like they are in supply. Going down rail lines. 1, 2 to rail lines, and so on and so forth. I busted this out. So they're all going in through Bryansk and whatnot. And these guys are all on rail lines. So yeah, everybody's done. So that's the Soviet operations phase. Pushed them off the Volkov. Finally eliminated that Bryansk pesky unit. And I've set up the first to be eliminated next turn, if I so desire. Depending on what the Germans do for replacements, they've got decisions to make. So, it's Soviet operations. Nobody has a no supply marker, so we can skip that. Replacements phase for the Axis. Now we have problems. Oh, we have trouble. Right here in River City. They have 13. So they're not going to be able to do everything they'd like to do because they have got their reserve guys are going to have to not be turned up this turn because I really need to do. Well, I definitely have to flip this guy up, right? That's 1. That puts me down to 12. The question is, do I didn't lose anything down there. Oh, I have a freaking armor unit that got flipped. So I'm going to have to spend, I'm going to have to spend 2 to flip this guy back. Oh, I forgot to roll for the British. Quick timeout. I forgot to roll the Western partisans. So I'm going to do that right now. The partisans roll a 2. So they're coming back in 1-2 January. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Forgot to roll for the partisans at the end of the Western operations phase. So I spent 2 to do that. That puts me down to 10. If I want to flip up 3 airplanes, I can only do 1 more guy. The question is do I do a reserve? Do I flip up the guy that's isolated to try and get him into that low supply kind of situation again? He's isolated, and it didn't work out well the last time. Or I can flip up the guy in Calais. Or I can build another militia unit. The last time I did this, it took him 3 attacks to kill it, but that was when I was in forest. He's probably going to be able to do this much quicker. It's a tough decision. You know, I think I'm going to go with doing the one in the east just to try and make the Russians' life miserable. So he's going to be flipped. And then I have, what do I have on the faction card? I only have a couple of militia. I think they can wait a turn. I'm going to flip up 3 airplanes with the Germans. So this is going to be one of them. You know, I really need to flip up the frack. I really got to flip these airplanes up to try and slow down the bombing campaign. This is horrible. Do I take my chances in the south and hope that I can hold on the Po for a little bit? I think so. We're going to do a second airplane in Russia. And now I'm in a kind of a quandary. I don't know if I should do the northern one. The Russians can only flip up 3 airplanes. So the southern one and the northern one kind of cover the most area, so I'll do those 2. Okay, that's Axis replacements. Western replacements, we get to do the fun stuff. Where's the American stuff? The American airplane comes down 2. The American convoy comes down 2. The American bomber comes down 2. The American convoy over here comes down 2. And I think that's all the Americans. They only have 3 things to be replaced at the moment. Right. Okay, and then we go over to the British. The British have 24 left. They could leave everything just the way it is and rebuild their marker and like clear 1 navy or something. I think I want to clear up as much of this as I can. So, because I want to, this is definitely coming down 2. So that's 4. Now I could save this and build the surprise attack marker this turn so that it would be coming in the same time as the American one. But then I have a whole lot of things with 2, well, everything's going to have 2 sorties on it. I think I want to clear up as much as I can. So, let's go into Italy and clear this up. I need this. 3. 6. 9. Dang it. 9. So it leaves me 11. Let's do this convoy. For 3, that leaves me 8. Hello, leaves me 8. We'll clear this British airplane. That leaves me 5, and I'm just going to go ahead and clean out Force H. So that takes up all the British. The Russians have 9. They're going to only flip up 2 airplanes. So they want their armored full strength. They want their shock unit at full strength. So that's 3. And then they're going to flip up 2 airplanes, and they're going to basically kind of mirror image the Germans. I'll take this one down 2, and this one down 2. And the Germans will probably just put them back up to 6, but at least to keep the German air from being able to do anything to me. Like trying to rescue the first. And that seems to be Russian replacements. Upgrades, we don't have any. Mobilization. Nobody has any points to mobilize except the Hungarians. They will build their infantry. Well, their garrison unit, if I can go find the Hungarian home country here. They're the only one that had a point that could build something. And then the West, of course, is going to build their stuff. The Americans get their airplanes out here. And they each take sorties. 2, 4. And the Americans need to turn track up. The Americans get to put their surprise attack marker 4 turns into the future. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll come back in March. And then we will be going to end of turn phase, and I have to pause here for a moment. Okay, so the Hungarians built theirs. Nobody has any other mobilization. We aren't talking because we're all fighting. They haven't conquered Germany yet. So the game's not over. End of turn phase. We're going to need the national tracks up here too, if I remember right. This is a December turn. So yeah, we get German economic reforms. 1, 2, 3, 4. By the way, that's been errated in the rulebook in the latest errata that the Germans, after their initial one, which takes 6 turns to come in, all the other years they get them every 4 turns. That's why you see me moving at only 4. And then there's also a Lend-Lease here for the British. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And where's the Russian one? There it is. And the Russian one. So everybody's factory count marker goes up by 1. They go up by 1, and both of these go up by 1. So we'll have some more production points to spend since we haven't been doing anything in strategic warfare. People are going to have a lot of stuff to spend. Here's the tanks marker. Let's get the tanks markers in here. This tanks marker goes in here. Russians, British gets 1 back. Oh, the British got their Ultra, so they'll probably be using that next turn. Germans got their 2nd submarine, so they probably will be using at least 1 this turn. And they also got an airplane to build, so they got to start thinking about that. Russians got an armor to build. That's nice. And another heavy artillery events marker. So yeah, that's this over here. Just as a quick recap, this sort of little bulge here, it is a prime example of, Sal calls it a rolling assault. Basically, I got a really good result on my first assault on this particular hex, 2948, and I was able to push him back to 2949. And instead of taking the hex, I moved in with another armored unit, threw in an airplane, and made him retreat in front of Kiev, which then opened up a mobile unit being able to move and surround the first, but I wasn't able to do enough damage to the first with that and another attack from the 2nd Shock Army. Couldn't quite kill it, but, and it took me forever to kill this guy in the woods. That's why sometimes as a German, just leaving them sit at low supply. If they don't roll good dice, you end up using up a lot of their production points trying to kill an isolated pocket, which means they aren't attacking the rest of your line. And of course, the Russians broke the Volkhov here in the north towards Leningrad, so they've got a thrust towards the Dnieper here. They're, across in the south, and they're threatening to cross it in the north, so the Germans have their work cut out for them. Anyway, that is the Soviet 1943 and November 1943 turn and the end of turn phase stuff. I'm Dren608. If you like my videos, please subscribe so you don't miss any further episodes as they come out. We will return with December of 1943 in the next episode. And until then, bye-bye.